So I am going to talk to you now. You've all come so far in this competition. So first of all, congratulations to every one of you. Now, today I've come on this call, this session with you guys to talk to you a little bit about Japan and the different themes that are there around which this competition is based. Now, the reason why I can do this is because I've lived in Japan for 10 years. And I was actually living in Japan when I was your age. So when I was a high school student is when I lived in Japan. So there's a huge relatability factor. And before I go on, I'll just leave this slide here. Now, before I begin, I have a question for all of you. How many of you are excited to go to Japan? If you are, type excited in the chat. I want to see the level of excitement that's there. Okay, amazing. Very nice. Awesome. We got the emojis also coming in. Great. All right. Well, at the end of this competition, some of you are going to go to Japan. But even regardless of what the outcome of this competition is, every single one of you can go to Japan. And like my colleague Dhruva said in the beginning, if you have questions about studying in Japan, reach out to us. You can even reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to have a chat with you. Just get on a call, discuss things, and get you on your journey. Now, I'm gonna talk to you guys for the next about, let's say, about 15 minutes. And I'm gonna talk to you about the remaining four themes that you have. And I'm going to talk to you about innovation that's there in Japan. Now, I'm sure being students and being so aware, you guys know about a lot of innovations that are in Japan, a lot of things that come across social media, some things which make us think that, oh my God, Japan is living in the future. That's something that sort of starts at the beginning of a lot of videos. But the big question is, why do we say that Japan is a powerhouse of innovation? Or why do we say that, oh my God, Japan is living in the future? Where does this come from? So, my first question to all of you, and we're going to make this interactive, is why does this happen? I mean, why does the world actually say this? Is it because of the technology that Japan has, the money that Japan has, or something secret? Tell me really quickly in the chat. Okay, tech, everything, tech. Wow, some secret. Okay. Excellence in execution. Okay. Determination towards success. Very nice. Okay. Now, one thing you have to realize is that technology, money, and some secret, there's no secret. First off, technology and money is available everywhere. This is the end result of purpose, precision, and empathy. These are the things that drives Japan as a country. Everybody knows Japan's history, right? Everybody knows what happened in World War II. Japan was hit with two nuclear bombs, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? So if you think about it, the country went back to square one in 1945. They had to rebuild everything. And where they are today is because of what they've been able to do for the past 60, 70 years, however long it's been since that happened, right? And to put it very simply, it's a place where logic meets culture and design meets discipline, right? It's completely driven by logic. And why that makes sense is something that you'll see in my later slides. All right, let's move on. Now, innovation is not an accident. It's a mindset. We say that, oh my God, Japan's invented so many things and done that. Why can't we do it? We can absolutely do everything that's been done in Japan. The thing is, we need to have that mindset. We need to have that logical thought process to think that, okay, we need to do this. How can we do it? Let's go and execute. Okay. These are the things that Japan keeps at the core of everything. And feel free to take screenshots of this slide, pictures, whatever you want to do, because this may just help you in thinking about your idea before you get onto the video recording and everything. This can really help you, right? Now, problem solving is at the core of Japanese thinking. The first thing that they do is they try and identify a problem because they think that no problem is big or small. If there is a problem in society, it's for sure it's being faced by multiple people. It's never just one person having a problem, right? One person having a problem is not a problem. That's an excuse. Okay. So What they say is that every invention solves a real world friction, often in the simplest way possible. So it's not something that has to be complex. We a lot of the times we think that, oh my God, I have to innovate something. It has to be complex. It doesn't have to be complex. The simpler, the better. All right. The Kaizen philosophy. I don't want to go too much into it. I can talk all day about it. I've read a lot about it. But in in essence, what it means is constant improvement, no matter how small. Okay. So to give you a live example, that every day you improve whatever it is you're doing by 1% or 0.1% or 0.5% or whatever it is. But every day there has to be some improvement. And after a set period of time, there would have been a lot of improvement, is what the Kaizen philosophy says. That basically you just don't stop, you keep going, right? Now, empathy-led design. What this means is, again, from metro maps to yogurts, innovation serves people first. So whatever it's that you're innovating, how is it going to benefit people? How is it going to make people's lives better? Okay. That's at the heart of everything that's doing because people always run after user experience. Okay. Next, minimalism meets efficiency. All right. This is something Japan swears by. It's literally in their bones. Right? Nothing is built just to impress. It's built to last and work. The more complex you make things, the easier it is for them to break down. So they stress on keeping things absolutely minimal and in the best way possible. Right. Now, some things that look ordinary are often deeply inspirational. When I hope all of you get to go to Japan, this is something that you'll see that some things are just absolutely ordinary, right? And you'll think to yourself that, oh my God, this is so easy, this is so simple. I could have done this. Why didn't I? Right? That's a thought that's going to be there with you for a long, long time when you visit Japan. But what you have to realize is that everything there is intentional. Okay. Japan innovates in things the world overlooks. All right. How we park, how we walk, even how we peel a lid. Right now, that's twice I've mentioned the lid, so you'll get to see why just in a little bit. They design better experiences, not just products. Okay. These ideas may look simple, but they're backed by precision science and systems thinking. And this is where it's very interesting that the simplest things that you will see in public, just out in the world in Japan, come from a background of a ton of research, a ton of R&D, and just a lot of market fitment. Okay. Now, before I move on, because now what I'm going to show you is some amazing examples and how they fit within the four themes of this competition, right? And that is there to give you an idea of the kind of innovation that Japan does. Okay. It's not there to suggest that you just copy those ideas and make them more on your own and push them forward. That's not the idea. The idea is to show you how people in Japan think, how they innovate, and perhaps because the assignment of this competition is for you to identify a real world problem in India and use Japanese innovation or technology to solve it here, perhaps you can try and get a little bit into that mindset to really improve whatever it is you're going to work on. Now, before I get into those, just quickly, uh, whatever one Japanese innovation comes to mind, just put it in the chat. Something that you were amazed by, that you found online or anywhere, but it has to be a Japanese innovation. Blue LED. Okay, yes. The bullet train. Okay. Transportable umbrellas. Okay. Earthquake simulator. Very nice. Okay. Upside down umbrella. Okay. QR code. Very nice. Bullet train. That's twice. Okay. Walking tiles that produce electricity. Very nice. Okay. Food, laptop. Okay. That's very generic, but okay. The Walkman. All right. Automated vehicle garage. Okay. Convenience, convenience stores. I'm sure you meant. Instant noodles. Yes. 3D hologram currency. Okay. That's still in research phases. Tokyo Skytree. Okay. 3D. Okay. Amazing. Cool. So you guys are all on the same page. Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the innovations that are there in Japan, how they have benefited the country, what problem they solved, and what was their impact. Okay? The ramen train. Okay, and during these examples, keep just keep interacting in the chat. Has anybody heard of it? Don't Google it right now. But if you've heard it, just put a yes. If you haven't, no. Okay. So Japan's staple food is ramen, as I'm sure a lot of you have had. Not the instant ramen, okay? Like there's a proper ramen. Okay. Now, at the heart of every bowl of ramen is broth, which is it's liquid gold is how they like to say it, and it's prepared. It's a long preparation process. But the thing is that after a person eats ramen, they leave the broth behind. Of course, you can have it, but most people tend to leave. 99% of Japanese folks, they leave it behind. Now, it cannot be reused, it can't be recycled, and so it has to be discarded, right? Now, imagine a country of so many million people all wasting this much ramen broth. So the government came up with a project where they took all of this broth and they converted it into energy and they used that energy to run a train, which they made into a tourism attraction. Okay, and you can see in the slide that there's actually a picture of that. It was a nice open train. You could sit in it. It would take you around a town, and it was towards the suburban area of Japan. So it's a very nice tourist experience for everyone. And what happened was that the ramen waste that was there across Japan, it came down by almost 70%, right? So that's a lot of waste that came down because what they analyzed was recycling this into drinkable water and all would be far more expensive than using it for a project like this. Okay. How they did this, Kushi, you asked how they did this. That's something I can't get into right now because it'll just take up the entire session. Okay. All right. Next is dissolving plastic. That is a very sustainable thing. Plastic is a huge problem. Japan has recently developed a type of plastic that can be dissolved in seawater. So that fantasy of everyone where you're on the beach and you just want to toss a plastic bottle in the ocean might just come true because this plastic is designed to dissolve in just a few hours with absolutely no CO2 emissions or harm to the environment. All right. Now, electric assist bicycles. We are just now seeing the EV craze across the world that, BYD has come to India. Tesla is producing electric cars left, right, and center. Before all of this, I was in Japan about 18 years ago. And at that time, uh, there were electric bicycles, and they've been around forever because bicycles is a very, very common mode of transportation for school children, for mothers, for teenagers, for even corporate workers, right? Everyone is at a bicycle at some point, and because Japan's terrain is very uneven, it's a mountainous terrain. So these bicycles have batteries. So the moment you're on a slope, they bring in additional power, so you don't have to put in any extra effort. And when you go to Japan, you'll see mothers with two children, one in the front, one in the back, off the bicycle, and they're riding around town all day doing all their things. So this is something that's been around forever in Japan, right? Okay, this is actually one of my favorites. This is somewhat of a recent innovation, non-stick yogurt lids. How many of us like to have fruit yogurt, Epigamia, and some of the other brands? Quickly type in the chat. And how many of us see the moment we peel the lid, there is a huge layer, there's a thick layer of yogurt just sitting on top of the lid, right? And what do? You're either going to lick it off, which you can't really do in public. You can just do it at your home, maybe, or you have to, scrape it off with the spoon, but then there's always some left, right? So now, fruit yogurt is a very, very, uh, it's a huge favorite in Japan. Okay, you'll find it in all types of flavors. And if there's anyone here who can actually read Japanese, you'll see this says vanilla yogurt. And this is actually one of my favorite. That's why I put the picture. But the innovation is that nothing sticks on that lid. If you even take it out of the spoon and you put it on the lid, it'll slide down. Okay. The thing is, they don't use Teflon enough because Teflon is actually a toxic chemical, which is used in non-stick pans. They use a different technology because they cannot expose Teflon directly to food like this because it has a long shelf life, right? So they use something different. But this is an innovation that's there. Okay. Okay, something's wrong with my animation, so I'll go with this first. Now, everybody knows about robotics in Japan. All right. Robotics is there in everything from education to restaurants, even to airports now, and even at shopping places to assist you in shopping. There are personal shopping robots also in Japan. So what they're doing is the innovation here with robots is using autonomous robots and customizing them to different customer user experiences, whether it's in education, food, shopping, or let's say airport support, whatever it is, they're customizing it to that. So that's the innovation. Automated parking, someone did mention this earlier, but the automated parking in Japan is absolutely next level because what happens is that you go in first. There is a huge turntable, so you take your car in, hood facing front, and it's going to take your car in. There is a huge forklift inside. There is absolutely zero manual intervention. That forklift picks up your car. It analyzes it whether it's a hatchback, sedan, or SUV because the length, headroom, and all differs. Accordingly, it'll take it and it'll put it in a small box for all intents and purposes, right? And then once you're done, you come back. If you went shopping or whatever, you ask for your car back, right? Now, here's the interesting thing. In most automated car parkings, the turnaround time for a car from the time you press it till you sit in your car is 30 seconds. In 30 seconds after you press the button, your car is downstairs in front of you and you can sit in it. You don't have to wait for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's how quickly it works. Okay. Walking electricity, yes, this someone did mention this, and this is a very new invention that's there and it's currently being used only in Tokyo. Tokyo has a population of 40 million people. And imagine how many footsteps that is because every day people are walking everywhere. Okay. So they've made roads lined with these special tiles, which absorbs the kinetic energy of when you're walking and it transforms it into energy, electricity, which is used for different uses. And just for a frame of reference, one adult step, so when you step once, and most of you are now young adults, when you take one step, that has enough energy to light an LED bulb for 20 seconds, right? So imagine how much electricity can be generated this way. Okay. Now, coming to the last one, before I end my part of the presentation, is the slime mold experience. Has anyone heard it? Yes or no? Quickly type it in the chat. Okay, very nice. Now, quickly, when Tokyo started developing its metro infrastructure, okay, they developed one phase of it and then they stopped. Uh, then they reached out. Then in a private university in Japan, I think it was in Kyoto, Um, what a research team did was they took slime mold, right, which is a living organism, and they took oats because slime loves oats. They put it in a dish and they arranged the oats in a way which map the major intersections in Tokyo, right? How the Tokyo government wanted their metro system to look, the bigger areas, all right? And they put the mold on, and then they put the mold in it. Now, if you look closely, the bigger image, shows what the mold did after 8 hours. First, in the first 8 hours, it just spread out randomly to try and get to the oats because it just wanted to eat it. After 8 hours, it stopped. It came back. And it then started spreading out very strategically, finding the shortest route to every oat that was there. Okay. This increased efficiency, it reduced the slime's effort, and it created a much more complex network. This allowed the scientists to then go back to the government and say that, look, this is how your metro network should be. And if you go on Google and you check, you'll see that the networks that was represented by the slime mold is very, very identical to the actual Tokyo metro network. Okay. And obviously after this successful experiment, they used the slime mold thing for other experiments as well. Okay. Now this brings me to the end of my bit, and I hope that you got to learn something from all of these innovations. that at the heart of every single innovation that I've spoken to you about today is a very simple problem. Okay. How do we make parking better? How do we generate electricity? How do we generate sustainable electricity? Okay. It's a very simple question. It's a very simple problem. And on top of that, a result is built, a solution is built, which has a huge impact. So if your problem is complex to begin with, you're going to have a hard time building a good innovation on top of it. Your problem only needs to address one thing, and you need to solve that. And then you need to build a solution on top of that. Okay. Now, this brings me to the end of my bit. I will now invite uh, Ms. Amita Gulati to take it forward with you all. And if you have any questions, more than happy to take it at the end of the session. Thanks.
Thank you, Sagar. Good morning. Firstly, I want to pat all of you on the back for waking up on Saturday morning and joining this call. So, thank you for waking up early or on time. I'm sure your parents are thanking us for this. Um, I want to get to some very, very basic questions around the video submission and the next steps. So all years now, and we've been responding to a lot of those questions in the chat, but you can, if you can all listen to us for the next 10 minutes about the basics, then that'll hold you in a good, that'll prepare you really well for your submission. So first reminder, it's a 3-minute video, and which means it can be 2 minutes, 59 seconds, not 3 minutes, 1 second. So that's what a 3-minute video is for. It has to be on one of the 5 themes that have been given to you. There is an official submission form which you will get in your inbox. So there'll be an email that'll have a form. You will receive that email by Monday, and you will be able to submit your video through that. Make sure you fill in all the details in the form, and the last part is uploading of your video. You have to name your video as first name underscore last name underscore theme. I would highly recommend that you all take a screenshot of this slide. You will anyway get, some of these slides around the instructions in your as an attachment in the email that you receive on Monday. But just in case you want to get started, or some of you already have your videos ready, please make sure you're renaming your video as first name underscore last name underscore theme. And then you upload it in the form and ensure that you don't forget pressing submit. Okay. Remember, only one entry per participant is allowed. So per email, only one email, only one entry. The deadline is 8th June. So you have a lot of time, and a lot of you will have summer break. So please make use of all the ample time that you have available. The submission can be made until 11:59 p.m. and after which the form will get deactivated and stop accepting responses. And please don't submit last minute. Please make sure that if it's 11:59, maybe you submit 2 days before, maybe you submit 3 days before, maybe you're going for a family vacation and you submitted in May, right? So don't keep your submission to the last minute. That's an earnest request. And no submission over email will be accepted. So only submissions through the form. Moving on, and I see some hands raised, and we'll come to all of that. And I'm sure Q&A is going on in the Q&A box as well. On the next slide, you will see the remaining instructions. Who's moving to the next slide?
Sid, if you please help move to the next slide, please. Thank you.
Yes, it can be less than 3 minutes. Yeah. So what should the video include? The video format and size, it's a MP4 is the format. The file size must not exceed 1 GB. The resolution can be 720 to 1080 pixels for clear visuals and audio. Now, what is it that you need to have in the content? Make sure that you start by introducing yourself. So, your name, your grade, your school or university. And we want to see you. So, for all of you who've been asking that do you need to be on camera? The answer is yes, bold capital. Mention your selected theme. So you could say good morning or hello or namaste. I'm first let if I was to be doing the video, I'll say I'm Amrita Gulati from grade 12 from XYZ school, and my presentation is on education. So that could be your sort of starting line. Feel free to be creative, but don't miss details of name, grade, school, and university name. And of course, your theme. Then you go on to explain your innovative idea linked to one of the 5 competition themes. The competition themes are again available in chat. The problem of India that you're addressing and why it matters. So, who is the problem for? How large is the problem? Since when is the problem been there? Why is the problem important as per you? And then you pick up a Japanese solution and show how it can work in the Indian context. Okay, so you have to speak about its working. And then after you've done explaining how it will work, you have to capture the impact. You have to mention what will the impact be in terms of numbers. So it could be number of years, it could be the number of people it will impact, or the amount of money it will save, or how it will make things faster, efficient. So you have to show the impact, and the greater precision you're able to do this with, the higher the chances of you winning the competition. You also have to mention any research and data sources that you use. So if you say that I'm going to make a new line of metro, for example, from place X to Y, you then have to tell us why you picked that track. If you want to create a new track, there are so many tracks that already exist. If you're proposing a new track, why are you picking that track between point A and point B? How many people travel? And is there absence of public transport there, or is this faster than other public transport? Is it going to be cheaper? Is it going to be used by thousands of people, etc.? So when you do all this research, if you're going to tell us the population of people between point A and point B is 100 and 200, let's say, you have to tell us the source of this research, of this number or of this data point, right? So make sure you mention all the relevant sources of your data and research. So you have to speak those out. You don't have to give us subtitles or anything, or you don't have to create a separate presentation for that. Okay. You may conclude with one exciting aspect of Japan that you discovered through your research or by engaging in this competition for a very powerful ending. Be clear, creative, and present a compelling solution. Yeah, which means that your problem and your problem has to be one that is really relevant, is really important, impacts many people, and your solution has to be effective, suitable, feasible, yeah, if for that situation or that problem. Moving on to the next slide. Here are the judgment criteria for the video. So, how relevant is it for the theme? How well your idea addresses the competition theme, right? So if it's education, if it is sustainability, if it's mobility, etc., how well is it aligned to the theme? What is the innovation? How original, creative, and forward thinking the solution is? Is the idea that you're presenting feasible? Is it practical? Is it scalable? Can it be implemented realistically? What is the impact? What kind of positive change could it create in the society? Clarity of communication. Is your video easy to understand, well structured, and convincing? The other important thing that you need to make sure is that the audibility, so the volume at which you're recording is the other important aspect for your consideration. Make sure you're pausing, make sure you're making eye contact as you're recording with the camera, and you're using visuals or your gestures to make or voice modulation to make that impact in the video in terms of communication of the idea. Moving on to the next slide. These are some of the questions we got in the last session. So what we've done to now is that we've put together all questions that we've been receiving over email or in the previous webinar, and we've put these together for you. So do you need the prototype? No, you don't need to create a prototype. To support your submission, you may use any visuals or explain how your idea would work in practice. So you don't need to create any prototype, but if you want to use some objects which you can find easily, or you want to use some pictures or some graphs or some, images, then you can use those, right? Um, what should I name my video? So please make sure it is first name underscore last name underscore theme. So my video could be Amrita underscore Gulati underscore education. Submissions with incorrect file names will be automatically disqualified because our system will not recognize files named in any other way. If you get stuck or need clarification, you can reach out to us on email on japantoindia.techbridge@sanams4.com. You're already familiar with this email ID. You've been receiving communication, so it's very much in your inbox. And next is we want to leave you with some inspiration and some history to our relationship, to India's relationship with Japan. So Suzuki partnered with Maruti Udyog. Maruti is Indian, Suzuki is Japanese in 1982. That's also the year I was born. So it's Maruti Suzuki is, I'm as old as a Maruti Suzuki, or a Maruti Suzuki is as old as I am. They launched their first Maruti 800 in 1983. And just yesterday in the office, we were talking about how many of us have driven Maruti 800 as our first car, and actually became the first car in our generation at our home, because this car made affording a four-wheeler vehicle affordable, I mean, doable for many families. So it made owning a vehicle accessible for many classes in the society in India. Also, Suzuki introduced fuel-efficient compact vehicles, investing in EV tech to make India a global EV hub. We see a lot of EV vehicles around us now, and charging stations as well. Osamu Suzuki was awarded the Padma Bhushan, which is the third highest civilian award in 2007. And then posthumously, he received the Padma Vibhushan in 2025, which means after he passed away, he received this award, which is the second highest civilian award, just to honor the accessibility of of cars and other vehicles that Maruti Suzuki could get into the Indian community and country. It's a model of Indo-Japanese collaboration. So you see, it's a 43-year-old collaboration. It has only moved from strength to strength and has got us many innovations, many different cars which are used all over. In fact, even you won't relate to it, but many of us in our childhood, or your parents would talk about a Maruti Omni, so which is like a van, which took so many of us as kids to school as well. So it not only became Maruti didn't only give us a personal household car, it also gave us carpools in car systems or vans to reach schools and offices, etc. Um, So it's been a key, it's Maruti Suzuki has been a key contributor to India's automotive growth, and has brought, the country's automobile industry on the global map. Moving on to some more such interesting facts. So, Japan shared a quake resistant tech and disaster planning expertise. So, disaster resistant construction and disaster management is again something that we've learned from Japan greatly. And key support was provided in 2001 Bhuj earthquake and 2004 tsunami. Improved infra, with the Japanese technology and standards, we've been able to improve infrastructure resilience and safety standards in India. It has influenced, and this has influenced metro design, urban planning, and building codes. You already know the metro rail systems and urban mobility was, supported again greatly by Japanese funding and intelligence. It introduced punctual, efficient, and clean mass transit. None of us could believe how clean, how quick, how efficient, how smooth metros could be. And I think we have a lot to, be grateful to Japan for, bringing this system to us. And it inspired the metro development in multiple Indian cities. And I'm wondering whether the slime and oat model was done, experiment was done here in India as well. And it has set benchmarks for safety, operations, and energy use in our country for public transport. That's public transport, urban planning, and of course, the other large influence has been in the two-wheeler revolution, the Honda, Yamaha, and Suzuki. So again, with Japanese technology and support, we introduced reliable fuel-efficient bikes and scooters, and it made personal transport affordable for millions. Honda Activa became a nationwide mobility icon. No wonder we have a song on it also now. It boosted India's automotive manufacturing ecosystem. So yeah, so I think if you go back to the way we started introducing Japan to you and now through this competition, you'll realize Japan is in all of our everyday lives, regardless of your age, stage, gender, and what you do. You do use a Japanese technology every day, the most common one being the QR code, which all of us use, the rice cookers in the kitchen, the animation that you see, all of that. So I think the idea is now to think about how you can use some of the Japanese technologies, do a little bit more research, and apply it to an Indian problem. Yes, so that's it from us for today. We do want to we want to keep the last 10, 14 minutes open for questions. So if you have questions and those have not been answered in the Q&A box, please raise your hand and we will unmute you one by one to ask your question. Okay, so I see Arnav's Jain's hand is up. Okay, Arnav, go ahead, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Actually, I missed the last session, so I have a doubt that what actually happened in that session.
Okay, so it was a session on how by a professor on healthcare technologies. So if you've missed the session, that's not a problem. All the instructions are given here. You were supposed to attend any one session, either the one on last Saturday or today.
Okay.
Okay, so you've not missed anything.
Thank you.
Arshit, you're next. Please unmute and share.
Okay.
Harshit, could you please unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
Arshit, do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us.
Why is Japan so popular?
Oh, you should be telling us that now. Because of sushi, Anime, manga, Metro, Maruti Suzuki, because they're doing so many innovations. That's why it's so popular. And because of its culture of old temples, and because it rose after almost being destroyed, it rose to a tech powerhouse. So there are many, many reasons. And why don't you do that research as a part of some, you know, doing your submission of the video?
Okay.
Thank you, Arshit. Okay, I see Arav Singh. Arav, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Can I can I present an innovation that has not been implemented in India yet, but it can be used?
Oh yes, as long as the inspiration and the technology is from Japan. So please don't use any general innovation or, technology that's been invented somewhere else. But definitely you can use something which has not been used so far. That's the whole idea. Thank you, Arav. Okay, Khushi.
Good morning, ma'am. I want to ask that do we have to use the do we have to make a video presenting the Japanese solution in India, or do we have to use the Japanese thinking process to create a new technology?
Good morning, Khushi. So it's number two. You have to use Japanese thinking and a Japanese technology to solve a problem in India, solve a problem of India, which falls under the 5 themes which are available in chat. Some of those themes are mobility and transport, education, sustainability, urban communities, and healthcare.
So can we change that technology a bit according to our requirements?
You can adapt, you can't change the technology, you can say, or you can even bring in two technologies together to solve a problem. You can use some part of the technology and you can adapt, yes.
Okay, thank
Okay, Harman, welcome. Harman, you're next. Yes, Harman, we are waiting for you to ask your question. Harman, if you're unable to speak, would you like to drop your question in the Q&A box? Okay, Arya.
Morning, ma'am.
Good
Ma'am,
morning.
I want to ask that when we make a video, so we have to make PPT to show in background, or we have to make some different the how we have to present the video in the video how we have to present that. We have to make PPT, PDF to explain what we are doing, what we have technology have taken, or what.
Okay, Arya. So it has to be a video, just like you see me on video. You have to use this kind of a video to explain and to, present. Uh, if you think you want to use some slides, you're free to do that in some part of the video, but we need to see you visible throughout the video. So you don't have to create any separate present. The submission is single, one video. If you want to run a presentation in the background, you may do that. No separate submission of a PDF or a PPT is required. Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Uh,
so like you are explaining the whole session, we have to make the video and we have to explain like this we have taken this technology to use India this problem, or we have to explain like like you are explaining to us.
Yeah, you're free to use visuals or diagrams, and you can turn your camera towards those, but the only thing that you have to keep in mind is the total videos, the video size, the clarity with which you'll be, of presentation. So if you're moving your camera too much, does that impact clarity, and the flow of thought in presentation? So, and please understand that this you may take five, six cuts to make one video, right? Like attempts to make one video.
Okay,
But no separate PPT or no separate PDF is required.
okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes,
Okay.
there was a
Yashasvi.
question in the chat. Amya Arora, she asks, why did we choose Japan over diversity of other countries? That's a very good question. I think I can just quickly answer that live for everyone. There are many reasons for why we chose Japan, and one of the biggest ones is that not enough people, unfortunately, know the amazing things that Japan is doing. And a lot of the times you get to know that if you're, let's say, working and you end up, going to Japan. But Japan has done a lot of things like Amrita just shared with India, and the kind of technological innovations it possesses in every area of our lives is something that makes it a very unique place. And Japan itself now wants to work a lot with India. It wants to do a lot of things with students like you guys at high school levels, and it also wants to invite students like yourselves to come and study in Japan. So, and one of the biggest misconceptions about Japan is that, oh my God, if I don't know Japanese, I won't be able to survive there. That's not true. Yes, while Japanese is the main language of Japan, a lot of universities do teach in English. Full, complete degree programs are taught in English. So it's not something you have to worry about. But uh, the way Japan is positioned to support India, work with India, and create more innovations is what makes it a great is what puts it in a great position for us to choose it as a country for this competition and many more things to come. Okay, who's next? Is it Arya who's next?
I think it was Yashasvi.
So, ma'am, my question is that do we have to only propose the idea, or we have to give the business model and all those things also?
No business plan yet until we find you a funder, until we say that this is a fantastic idea and you need funding now. So, no
Okay.
business plan as of now.
So I have to just propose the idea that I have this idea from these technologies.
Yeah, but you have to explain that why have you picked that technology?
Okay.
What problem will it solve? How will it solve it? And you have to convince the person who's judging it that it is an actual solution, that
Okay,
it's a
ma'am.
feasible solution and it will solve the problem. And on solution of that problem, what will be the impact? Okay, Pragya, you want to go next?
Hello, ma'am. Can I ask?
Yes, Harman.
Ma'am, I wanted to you to share that negatives of the video that we might be doing, which will impact the listing or the marking scheme.
Can you say that again? The
I would like you to explain the negatives of the video, which will be affecting the marketing scheme or the winning
The don't do's.
probabilities. What?
Okay, so you want to know what will lead to negative marking? Is that your question?
Yeah, like if we don't include our name and etc., that will be a
Yeah.
negative
So
impact.
you have to
That's
make
just like
sure
that.
that the file is named correctly, first name underscore, last name underscore theme. You have to make sure it's under 3 minutes. You have to make sure it's under 1 GB. You have to make sure that you're speaking your name, your grade, or your year of university. and
It should be
theme is school or institution name and your theme in the beginning, and that you're ending with one exciting aspect of Japan that you discovered through your through your research.
also, Amrita, just to add, it should be between 720 to 1080 pixels. Just for clarity.
Yes, and you will receive all these specifications in the email.
Yeah.
All, yeah. So before you make your video, and you'll receive all of this. Okay, Pragya, your turn.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask whether, like, I have decided a concept and like a particular design of something else, a new innovation, absolutely new innovation, but have inculcated different Japanese technologies into it. Like, I have used the product is same. I have made a robot, basically designed a robot. I have named it. I have decided the logo. I have decided the taglines. I have decided the solution, problems, whatever is required. So, and I have used the various technologies and various different robots from different fields to add on into the one I have made. So, can I go with this idea or not? Like, basically, am I going wrong?
No, you're not going wrong, but it has to be a solution to one problem.
Yes, ma'am. I will work on it. I have decided for two, but like I will work on the main one.
Yeah.
Amrita, there's an interesting question in the chat box. Does the video have to be taken in one shot, or one take, or are we allowed to make edits and use cuts?
Okay, so for us, it has to be one video. So
Yes.
when you submit, it has to be one video. You can't give me 20 seconds and 30 seconds and 1 minute, etc. You may do 100 cuts, right? So this may be your first journey into becoming a Bollywood actor, but or facing the camera. But for the submission, it has to be one video. I am quite sure that you will need to do several attempts before you get the final one right. So make sure that you get enough. So hence, if the deadline is 8th June, don't start making the video on 6th June. Make sure that you're attempting, and maybe you can break it down for yourself to say, okay, first, you can make a storyboard of your video that my first 20 seconds will be this, my next 30 seconds will be this, etc. And then you can shoot it for yourself as 20, 30 seconds, review all of it, see how you can do it better, and then go for the final video in one go. Yeah, so the way you achieve it is the strategy you adopt for yourself is something that you know what works best for you. But for the submission, it has to be one video.
Thanks, Amrita. The next question in the chat box talks about whether the video should be a normal video or should be an animated video on computer. Can you show us a sample?
But I want a video with unicorns, but that's not going to happen. So no special effects, no animation is required. We want you to, the focus is more on the idea, your ability to match the right technology for the type of problem that you've chosen, the effectiveness of the solution and how you're able to demonstrate that, and how you're able to pick a problem that can impact many people, or where the impact is really useful for that community, for that city, or for that problem, right? For the sufferers of that problem or survivors of that problem. So the solution, the thought process, how you're bringing it forward, and that is what is important, not whether, you're not how you're packing it really. So, animations, special effects, nothing fancy at all, right? That's not what we need.
Sorry, I'm just conscious of time. A couple of more questions in the chat box, in the Q&A section, sorry. How is Japan addressing issues like climate change and energy efficiency throughout innovations?
I think Sagar gave you enough examples on energy. Climate change is the other thing that maybe you should do your research, because it's also a part of the themes that we have. And
Yeah.
maybe doing that research will help you find your idea for the video.
I start giving you guys everything. I think it's a bit unfair.
Yeah. Thank you both.
And he can't summarize his 10 years in 1 hour, no?
Yeah.
Of all that he's.
Okay, the next question is, does creating an application or a website idea for problem valid?
Can be.
So the app or the website is how you bring it to the world, how you bring it to a user, but you still have to tell us what Japanese technology is being promoted through that app or through that website and for what problem.
Thanks, Amrita. Next question is, will we lose points for making too complex of a video, or will it reward us?
Okay, that's a googly question. I don't know how to answer that, but I would just say that show your video maybe to your parents, to your friends, and see if the idea comes across clearly. That is important. I don't know what you mean by complex, right? So, if you say that I'm going to use two Japanese technologies to solve one problem, or I'm going to use three Japanese technologies to solve one problem, that's fine. That's not complex. But if you get into prototyping, and if you get into a business plan, or if you get into how this solution will have an impact in 50 years, or if you say that the government should do this and government policies that may be required, that's not all that is complicating and making it complex, which is not required. And I don't think you'll be able to, given the 3-minute limit, I don't think you'll be able to do justice. So focus on the idea, on the problem, solution, its impact.
It's very simple. What
Yeah.
you need to ask yourself is how easily can someone watching my video for the first time understand it in 3 minutes? There's no replays, no nothing. You're watching it once. If they understand it, you're golden.
Thank you, Amrita and Sid. I think we'll come to the last couple of questions. So, this is a pretty long question. How can I explore the exact technologies and solutions Japan has used for problems similar to those in India, especially when tools like ChatGPT or LLMs don't have up-to-date or detailed info? What are the best platforms, contacts, or methods to research and connect with the right sources?
I would say Google. Yeah, ChatGPT and AI might let you down. They might not have updated, but what you need to do in this case is do deep research manually, like the good old times before AI, where you would go in, you would find one particular website, one source that would lead you to two other pages, that would lead you to three other pages. So you create that kind of a research web. That's how you have to go about it. And you'll find a lot of these things. One of the other things you guys can do is go to google.co.jp, I think, the Japan Google, and then set it to English and start researching there, because then your results might be more defined. That's genuinely the easiest way.
Thanks, Sid. Just to add to that, I think it'll be important to validate the sources. So please use
Yeah.
validated sources for verified information. That would be helpful. Okay, great. We move
And
on.
find a friend in Japan.
Yeah,
Write to
possibly.
some university in Japan. There are many ways, and that's why you have so much time. You have time until 8th of June. So break your research time, your thinking time, your video making time through this period.
Okay, I think I have a very good question in the chat box, which is directed to Amrita. Should we add subtitles for the easy understanding of everyone? How do you
No, you don't need to add subtitles. English is the language you use to communicate.
Yeah.
We will ensure anyone and everyone who's judging your video understands English, is not hearing impaired, and is fully alert and alive and energetic when they're judging your video. So that's our promise to all of you. So no subtitles are required. Focus all your energy on finding a fantastic technology to solve a real problem in India.
Okay, there's one last question in the chat box in the Q&A which talks about if the problem in both countries has been solved in Japan, can we directly implement it in India or need changes? Okay.
So anything that you pick from another country for its implementation will have to be adapted to the geography, the climate, the culture of another country, right? So I don't think you can pick anything and just use it unless it's something like yogurt. Like you can pick a vanilla yogurt and give it to someone here. I don't think that needs much cultural adaptation. But I think any other solution that has been useful and successful in Japan will need to be adapted to an Indian context. We may have cities which are very dense. They may not have cities that are so dense. You may have users, a lot more users in the youth category. They may have more users in the older age category, etc. So how do you adapt it? And that's exactly why you need to do very, very in-depth research to see what made that solution successful in Japan and what could be its hindrance in India, or what could come in its way, come in the way of this solution if implemented in India. So you need to ask multiple questions, see, make sure that you're doing, studying your solution, your proposed solution from multiple points of view. Okay, so for all of you, I do see some people have asked if they can leave. So you can leave if you don't have questions. If you think you're going to benefit by staying on and hearing, listening to 2, 3 more questions, we will also wrap up in the next 4 or 5 minutes.